Hello, and welcome to one more video. So today we're going to be talking about LinkedIn profile, and how do you optimize your LinkedIn profile to be found by headhunters, other than you having always to reach out to someone to get attention or to get known. So how can you create a reverse engineering factor? So we're going to talk about LinkedIn profile. I'll share my screen and I'll use my LinkedIn profile as an example. So let me share my screen. Here we are. Here we go. So the very first thing you need to remember, of course, you need a photo. Photo is essential. Now, what kind of photo? Well, a photo that represents your cause, your mission, how you want to be perceived, your credibility. So make sure to have a nice professional photo. Invest a little bit if you can and get a great photo. The background photo of your LinkedIn. Well, this is a little bit like your postcard, right? Think this way. So what's the first impression people will have of you that you'll be causing with this photo? So what do you want to represent? It's okay if you want to have a landscape. Maybe you want to have, the photo of, the favorite city. But whatever you put it out there, make sure it's representing you. So if you're going to get an image of, for example, of New York City, make sure that that's a place you'd love to go. Because it might be that you cause that interest for people who are in New York thinking, oh, he's in New York or she is in New York, or maybe they want to come here. Now, if you're thinking about going to the UAE, for instance, Dubai, and you're going to have a photo of New York, it might cause some confusion. So I would recommend using something that really stands out, that represents you. Right? It could be, for instance, let's give an example. You want to represent leadership. You go in Google, right? You can write leadership and then click on images, right? As you click on images, you have several examples of photos that you could adapt. Some people have concerns about, copyright. That's fine. There are websites such as Pexels.com that they have some free images stocks. So for instance, leadership, and here we are. And perhaps you can use some of those free images. They don't really have the best in terms of, it's a bit mixed up. It's more about images of people, but you never know. You might get something very interesting according to what you're looking for. Okay, so going back to your LinkedIn profile. Headline. I insist on the headline. It's been taught a few times, and not that it's incorrect, but not applicable for senior level, that you should use keywords. So for instance, if I were to use only keywords, I would say job hunting, networking, career transition, executive coaching, and those are keywords, right? Those keywords can go under your headline. So there is a place for that. So here, please make sure to represent your value proposition. What is your value proposition? It's a combination of your top 5 keywords, because LinkedIn limits you to 5 here. And then you create with your own value proposition. So think this way, when somebody looks at your headline, how does that give the purpose, your value to that person who is looking at your profile, to that employer, to that headhunter? So make sure to have the right LinkedIn headline. So in my case, instead of just saying career advisor, career transition, executive career transition, I'm saying that I advise and I connect. So put a bit of a verb, put a little bit of, as soon as somebody looks at this, they immediately understand what is your entire value proposition. Now, you might be wondering, how do we add those keywords? Well, there is a section, it's really new actually, called Creator Mode. When you click on your Creator Mode, you're going to be able to add those keywords. So all you need to do is, let's say, I will undo one now, and then it will become blank. You cannot delete, but it's as if it is deleting. And then you can start typing again. So let's say if I am to write again, job hunting, I don't need to put the hashtag. I just need to start typing. And LinkedIn will give me a suggestion here. So I just have to pick from the drop down and say done. But I want to keep this one active because I want this order. And then you do done, and then you refresh your page, and then you get your major key 5 words. And you're going to be found immensely by people who are looking for people with those keywords. This will help headhunters when they are looking for somebody with a job hunting keyword or a career transition, or maybe an employer. They would find this profile because those keywords will bring them to the top of the research where they are found. Great. Now, there is this new, fairly new, maybe 1 year, I'm not sure, a function where you can add, how do people pronounce your name? Now, some people can be quite creative and they can elaborate a whole sentence about it. But I will tell you what happens when you record your name.
Isabelita Castilho.
Here we go. So if you don't know how to pronounce my name, now you do. So this is how you pronounce the LH in Brazil. So long story short, if you want to know people to know how to pronounce your name, so go ahead and record it. Now, this recording can only be done from the app on your phone, not on the browser, not on a laptop. So just FYI. Now, you can also add a video here instead of having your photo. And this is also done from the app. They keep changing those functions. So eventually soon, we should be able to do this from the laptop as well. Great. Now, as we move forward, whatever is relevant to your image, to your branding, make sure to add as featured. So as soon as you start adding something new, you have the option to actually call it featured. So anything that you post throughout the time that you use in LinkedIn, whether it's you're starting a new post or whether you're adding under any of your experiences, you just have to select featured. About section. So the about literally is what about you, right? So make the most to make it appealing. So you can do a little bit like a storytelling, or you can go to the point in terms of, what exactly do you represent? What is a summary, a recap of you? This is your summary, right? So basically, in my case, I basically talk about what's my scope, where my clients are located, nationalities, markets, give this clear idea. Because if somebody is looking, for instance, for the career transition advisor, an executive, and he's not, well, does she also serve other countries? Because she seems to be in Dubai. And then here it's clear, yes, I do. I have clients in about 16 countries at the moment of 20 nationalities. So you can see actually where those locations are. Here we go. And then I talk a little bit about what I enjoy doing, of course, related to my mission, my purpose, my work. And then I tell a little bit, how did that start? This is an illustration. I found it important, and this is part of my personality. If it's part of yours as well, I'm very transparent. So, hey, how did it always start? Why do I do that? And then here I give a bit of a walkthrough, add some credibility. So basically, in my case, I say, aside from loving what I do, I also wrote a book. So that gives a little bit more to say, okay, it's an anchor, it becomes an anchor, have an anchor. So maybe you can say, if you are in sales, I have won, the best sales person of the year in 2017, 18, 19. And this is your anchor. So if you're looking for a job in sales and you're talking about your awards recognition, so this is your anchor. This gives you the credibility, the proof of what you do. And then you can add a little bit of core expertise. Now, make sure that whatever core expertise you're adding, it is something you want to do next, or you want to keep being perceived as, labeled as. For instance, I don't add here information about things I have done in my past, which, for instance, in sales, because it's not something I want to be labeled as, and I don't really want to do it. So there's no point in mentioning it. And anything else that you want people to know. I welcome professional network and new connections across the globe. Now, when it comes to experience, don't write a book about it. Be to the point, be a little bit of a storytelling. If you want to add 3 bullet points, by all means, but make it short enough, but strong enough that people will feel like they want to read and they want to finish reading. When it comes to education, by all means, add all your relevant education. And then when it comes to skills, it is important to add all your key skills. And again, key skills that you find it, that you love it, and that you want to keep doing it. If there's any skill that you don't want to be recognized as or labeled as, remove it, right? This is important. And you can add skills here, and then you can delete. So for instance, if I want to delete anything that is not relevant anymore to me, I will just go ahead and delete it from here. Now, here we go. When it comes to recommendations, essential, guys, essential to have recommendations. The recommendations will actually represent what people were saying about you. So one thing is what we talk about ourselves, and the other thing, how do other people, and who are those people? So anyone can go in their profiles and say, who is this person? What is his level of seniority? Who is this person that is recommending this profile I'm visiting? And then you get to see who they are and what are they recommending the person for. Now, usually it's interesting because you'll be able to see that every person, although they are in different countries, different nationalities, there is always something kind of common of what people are saying. So I would give an example. If you read my recommendations, a lot of people are going to say she's very passionate. It's almost consistent. And this is true, right? So if you were to be interviewed by me, and if I was a headhunter, then you already know what makes me tick. So you have to express you're passionate, you have to show some passion, because this is part of my personality. People recognize me. That means that's what I recognize and I like to see in people. And the same goes for giving, right? When you give recommendations first, you can always give back, right? It represents that you also like to recognize people. And at the same time, it's a way to say what matters. What's the personality of this person? Because again, if you're going to be interviewed by a headhunter, by a recruiter, or by a hiring manager, and if you can do a little bit of study on their profile, you really get to know. It's a bit of like a total study on the person's personality. You say, you know what matters to her, right? So you'll be able to see based on the things that this person is recommending the others for, and you can see some common words again, right? So you can see some excitement, fantastic, and then basically amazed. You can see, oh, quite of a, excited person or passionate person. You'll be able to see based on what the person is recommending, and you'll be able to see what is really important, right? So guess what? Then you get more prepared when you go in an interview. You're able then to say, hey, now I know what makes her tick, what makes him tick. Based on the recommendations given and received, you can have a fair idea. So make sure to ask for recommendations. Now, if you don't know how to ask for recommendations, I will show you how you do that. So let's pretend, let me get anyone in my network, and let me get a good friend of mine. Hang on. Just to give an example, if I am to ask for a recommendation, what I would do, I would go here in my friend's profile. This is just a friend. So I would not be asking for professional recommendation. And I would go here and say, request a recommendation, right? So when you request a recommendation, you have the option to select, how do we know each other? So let's say, perhaps I reported to Stephen in the past. So Isabelita, you... Here we go. So let's consider the hypothetical example that I reported to Stephen. So I would say Stephen managed me directly. Which job was that? So let's say perhaps when I was a career transition consultant at the Barrett Group, which is hypothetical, it's not the case. And then basically here, instead of just saying the standard message, say, hey, Stephen, I hope you're doing well. It's been a while. So naturally, how you would talk to this person and say, hey, I was just wondering if you could give me a recommendation for the time that we work together. Just feel free to express your thoughts. And then what will happen, the person will receive a notification and they will know, they will feel comfortable or not to give you a recommendation, right? So basically this is the case. So going back to my profile, here we go. So I don't want to extend too much today. There are lots of taboos about LinkedIn, especially when it comes to headline. Think for yourself. Other than taking, let's say, blind advice from everybody has a different advice, think for yourself. If you landed in this page, and if you were to say, what is more appealing to you to contact somebody you're looking for this service, would that count more, or if just a job title was here, or just a few keywords? So this is, I want you to reflect on that and make your own decision. But I highly recommend, if you're a senior person, do have your value proposition indicated. That will be like a bait for the person, for the headhunter, the recruiter, the hiring manager, to continue looking at your profile. One more thing, as we are talking about LinkedIn today, always check who viewed your profile today or yesterday. It's good to know who is checking your profile. And if perhaps you have someone that could be your, let's say, a managing director, he could be your next boss, and he checked your profile, hey, send a little message, say, Mohammed, thank you for checking my profile. Is there anything I can do for you? Happy to have a chat. You can do this for anybody that could be a potential manager. You can do this to anybody who can be a headhunter. So basically, let's say, oh, here we go. Let's say I'm looking for help, and those are my branding guys, fantastic branding guys. And let's say I still didn't know Viraj, so I can go, hey, Viraj, thanks for checking my profile. By the way, I'm looking for some help with my branding. Let's have a chat. So he got visibility. So also visit others' profile, so you get the visibility. So any headhunters that you see, if there are any headhunters checking your profile, it's a great opportunity to say, hey, I noticed you checked my profile out. Would be lovely to have a chat. Is there anything I can help you with? So they visited your profile. So it's an easier opportunity. It's an easier goal. Now, when it comes to look at the importance of this, you should have your profile visible. If you're looking for a job, you want people to know you visit their profile. Someone at PwC Brazil, guess what? I don't know who someone is. And if this person is looking for a job, and if I'm a headhunter, it would not make me know who they are, right? So it's very important to have the visibility. And how do you do that? Let's go here. So go in view profile, go in edit public profile and URL. And then when you scroll down this page, you're going to have edit visibility. Please make sure you are fully visible for everybody. Public here, see? You public for everybody, because maybe a headhunter is not yet connected with you and he's doing a research. So he's not going to land on your page or see all your details unless you say public. So please make sure everything is public, please, by all means. And since we are here, one last thing today, if you do have all those little numbers, there's numbers sometimes after your name on LinkedIn, you can go ahead and delete it. So sometimes you have all those numbers here. So go ahead here and just delete it, right? So then you have a nice and clean URL. Look, I want to show you how it looks like. So for instance, here is my URL. I only have my name. If your name is a name that could be maybe somebody else has already taken your name, some common names, you can add something else. You can add a word. You can put a dash, and you can put, for instance, career advisor, or you can put, leadership. You can be creative. You can put 2022, but create your now nice personalized LinkedIn profile. Well, for today, that's what I want to talk about. If you do have any doubts, any queries, please drop me comments below this video. Connect with me on LinkedIn, and remember, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and stay tuned. I wish you an amazing rest of the day and week ahead.